In March of 1995, something started stalking the fields of Puerto Rico. Farmers began waking up to a truly grisly sight. Their livestock, especially their goats, were dead. But they weren't just killed. They were found with strange puncture wounds in their chests, and a terrifying rumor began to spread. The animals had been completely drained of blood. The attacks were precise, leaving little mess, just a series of small circular incisions. No known predator on the island killed like this. As the body count of sheep, goats, and chickens reportedly rose into the hundreds, fear gave way to a name for this unseen killer. A name reportedly coined on a local radio show that would soon become famous worldwide: El Chupacabra, the goat sucker. For decades, this creature has been one of the great unsolved mysteries. But the time for ghost stories is over. Because today, the mystery has been solved. The solution wasn't found by capturing a monster, but through the cold, hard facts of DNA tests and wildlife biology. And the truth is almost stranger and in some ways more tragic than the myth itself. The legend of the Chupacabra absolutely exploded. It started in Puerto Rico, but the stories spread like wildfire across Latin America, into Mexico, and then north into the United States. And as the story spread, a strange thing happened. The monster began to change. The original Chupacabra, the one reported in Puerto Rico in 1995, was a truly bizarre creature. Eyewitnesses described a bipedal beast, standing about 3 to 4 feet tall, that hopped like a kangaroo. It was said to have leathery or scaly gray-green skin, large alien-like eyes, and a terrifying row of sharp spines running down its back. In 1995 alone, there was an explosion of sightings on the island, with some outlets reporting over 200. The panic was real. People were terrified. But then, as the sightings crossed into Texas and the American Southwest around the early 2000s, the monster transformed. The descriptions of a bipedal reptile faded away. In its place was a new Chupacabra, a four-legged canine creature. It was almost always described as completely hairless, with thick, dark, leathery skin and a gaunt, skeletal frame. It moved like a dog or a coyote, but it looked like something from a nightmare. This was the creature people started seeing on roadsides, the carcasses they started finding in barns. And it was this second version of the Chupacabra that finally gave scientists something to work with. For the first time, there were bodies, physical proof that could be tested. The question was, what was this thing? A new species? A government experiment gone wrong? The answer would come not from a cryptozoologist, but from a geneticist with a DNA sequencer. Before we get to the DNA, we have to deal with that first monster, the spiny, bipedal, alien-like creature. Where did such a specific and frankly bizarre description come from? The answer, it turns out, wasn't hiding in the jungles of Puerto Rico. It was hiding in plain sight in movie theaters. In the summer of 1995, just as the Chupacabra frenzy was taking off, a sci-fi horror film called Species was released. The film featured a deadly alien-human hybrid named Syl. And in its alien form, Syl was a bipedal reptilian creature with a row of spines down its back and a body shape strikingly similar to the one being described in Puerto Rico. This connection isn't just speculation. A 5-year investigation by author and researcher Benjamin Radford tracked down the original, most influential eyewitness from 1995, a woman named Madeline Tolentino. Her description became the blueprint for the Puerto Rican Chupacabra. When Radford interviewed her, he asked about the movie Species. She confirmed she had seen the film shortly before her sighting. In her own words, the creature in the film looked like the Chupacabra. Radford's conclusion: is that the original Chupacabra was essentially a leftover memory of a movie monster. It seems the terrifying image of the alien Sill, combined with the genuine fear from the ongoing livestock deaths, created a powerful feedback loop that swept across the island. The first Chupacabra wasn't a real animal at all. It was a modern folktale born from the marriage of local panic and Hollywood horror. This explains why no bipedal spiny creature was ever found. It only ever existed on screen and in the minds of terrified witnesses. So, one of the monsters is debunked. But that still leaves the second one, the hairless, canine creature found in Texas and the American Southwest. This one had bodies, and those bodies were sent for testing. Before we reveal what the DNA tests conclusively found, take a moment to subscribe. We dig into the science behind mysteries like this every week, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. When the carcasses of these so-called Chupacabras finally made it into the hands of scientists at institutions like the University of California, Davis, and Texas A&M University, the mystery began to unravel quickly. For years, people had claimed to have the body of a real Chupacabra, but again and again, the DNA results told the same story. There were no monsters. There were no new species. The DNA evidence was overwhelming and consistent. The animals being called Chupacabras were in fact familiar species. Most were coyotes, but some were domestic dogs, raccoon, or even canine hybrids like a coyote-wolf mix. 0 new species have ever been identified from these carcasses. But this raised another question. If these were just coyotes, why did they look so terrifying? Why were they hairless, with dark, wrinkled skin and a skeletal appearance? The answer isn't in cryptozoology, it's in pathology. These animals were sick, very sick. They were suffering from an extreme form of sarcoptic mange. Mange is a skin disease caused by a microscopic mite, Sarcoptes scabiei, that burrows into an animal's skin. The results are horrific. The animal suffers from intense itching and near total hair loss. Its skin thickens, wrinkles, and darkens due to secondary infections and exposure. The constant fight against the parasite leaves the animal emaciated and weak, and it often develops a foul odor. In 2010, University of Michigan biologist Barry O'Connor, after studying the cases, concluded that all of the tested carcasses and credible reports of Chupacabras in the United States were perfectly explained by coyotes with severe sarcoptic mange. A healthy coyote is a familiar furry canid, but a coyote in the final stages of mange is transformed into an ugly, naked, leathery, smelly monstrosity, a perfect match for the Chupacabra sightings. This disease also explains the creature's strange behavior. An animal this weakened can no longer hunt its normal prey, like rabbits or deer. It becomes desperate. It starts looking for easier meals, which is why it attacks livestock like goats and chickens, confined in pens and coops. They aren't bold monsters. They are starving, dying animals taking a desperate risk. And what about the most famous part of the legend, the blood-sucking? This too has been thoroughly debunked. Scientific necropsies performed on livestock allegedly killed by Chupacabras have never confirmed that the animals were drained of blood. In fact, veterinary analysis of hundreds of victims in Puerto Rico found they had normal blood levels. The drained appearance is likely a myth, caused by the way blood naturally settles and coagulates after death, combined with the small puncture wounds left by canid predators. Those punctures aren't from vampiric fangs. They're the typical bite marks of a coyote or dog, which often bites the neck. So, the great mystery is solved. The Chupacabra was never one creature. It was 2 separate phenomena, tangled together into one legendary monster. The first was a phantom, Born in Puerto Rico in 1995, a ghost created by a potent cocktail of real livestock attacks, mass hysteria, and the powerful influence of a Hollywood sci-fi movie. The second was a tragic case of mistaken identity. The hairless, monstrous canids seen in Texas and elsewhere weren't monsters at all, but victims of a horrifying disease. They were ordinary coyotes and dogs, transformed by sarcoptic mange into something unrecognizable. Their ghastly appearance and desperate behavior writing them into a legend they never asked for. The story of the Chupacabra teaches us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we create in our own minds. And sometimes the creature you think is a monster is just an animal that is sick and suffering. The scientific consensus is clear. The Chupacabra isn't real, but the science that solved the mystery is. And in the end, the truth is always more fascinating than the fiction.